Welcome. Thank you very much for joining us for another episode of Between Nerds. Here joins me, my co-host.
Hi, everyone. My name is Drew Elias, co-host of Between Nerds.
Hey, man. So, thank you guys for joining us again, like I said, this episode 15.
Is this 15 already?
I think this is 15 already, man.
Jesus Christ.
14 was Berserk. I hope everybody liked that episode. I really enjoyed that episode.
I feel like yesterday we were just describing how we did like our 10th episode. How are we already on 15? That doesn't make sense to me. I don't.
Man, October flew by.
Yeah. Where did this year go? We've been recording since like June?
Mm-hmm.
Or May?
June 26th, I believe.
Bro, that's like 6 months. Happy 6 months.
Yeah, happy 6 months.
Happy 6 months, bro. We got like a half year little baby going on here. Like,
yeah, definitely a little baby. Little baby. Lloyd is not joining us today. He got caught up with some work.
Rest in peace, Lloyd Parker Jr.
Rest in peace, Lloyd Parker Jr. And thank you guys for following us on Twitter at Between Nerds. Thank you for using the hashtag. We did get some usage at the beginning of the month for the hashtag. Thank you very much for using Nerdy Pause.
But we haven't gotten any traction in the past like 2 weeks. I don't know what happened. Everyone got super excited for this Humane Society donation, and then all of a sudden, everyone just disappeared. That was super, I don't know. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed, but I mean, we did get some entries, and it's not like they have to re-enter him again. But,
no, I agree. But tell your friends, like, what's the point? I'm excited because just from the traction that first couple weeks, I think this will be our biggest donation yet. Mm-hmm. So I'm excited for that because I really like the Humane Society of El Paso. Like, that's dope.
Yeah, and a shout out to them too because they actually replied to our Twitter and stuff like that, which is
who is handling their Twitter?
A nerd that's hopefully listening.
The Humane Society of El Paso's Twitter page is really being run by some nerd that actually knows stuff about anime. Like, that is super dope.
Or I don't know who saw it, but thank you very much, guys, over there. Please send us any suggestions, any concerns, your point of view on these animes that we're watching, suggestions to the email Between Nerds podcast.
Just troll us on Twitter. Everyone's gotten busy the month of October.
Probably
in El Paso is scary. Everyone's hidden indoors.
Please wear your mask. It's been getting crazy out there.
13,000 new cases in the past 3 weeks or something dumb.
Mm-hmm. Something dumb.
Something dumb. I don't know if I made up that number, but I saw something really big. Like,
yeah, it's ridiculous. And man, I don't know. It's crazy, but we'll get to that in the Nerd Down. Right now, we're gonna go ahead and digest Your Lie in April.
Right. So, Your Lie in April, Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso, directly translated to I met the girl under full-bloomed cherry blossoms and my fate has begun to change.
It's a long name.
It's a long fucking name.
But it's a better name.
Yeah, so when they translated it into like English names, it's called Your Lie in April. It's a lot shorter and sweeter. Mm-hmm. This is our second A1... Or is this our third A1 Pictures?
Dude, we've done 3. We've done Promised Neverland.
Right.
We've done Franks.
Oh, Darling the Franks too. Okay.
And this is going to be our third one.
So this is our third review of an A1 Pictures co-produced or main-produced anime production. It was, the manga ran from 2011 to 2015. The anime was published in 2015.
The anime, the series, the animated series?
Yeah. The animated series came out late 2015. Late 2015. I think it bled into, like, it was fall 2015 into spring 2016.
Okay. It was, oh man, it looks amazing.
It's animated really well. And one of the... There's a lot of issues with like musical anime because when it comes to like the technical side of animating, like a lot of finger movements and stuff like that, that's really expensive. So what you see A1 Pictures did is they
put the beach episode budget into these fucking like sequences of playing the instrument.
If you notice really closely though, there are 3D modelings of the hands while they're playing piano though, but like they don't leave it on screen that long so that you don't notice it.
And it's like, it's supposed to be like well lit and it's just like super like
a lot of color.
It's amazing. Like, I liked it.
It's called Your Lie in April because like everything's supposed to remind you of like a Japanese spring, like of the month of April.
Yeah, because like the name says, fucking cherry blossom. They look amazing. Like in the
That bitch lied under some cherry blossoms.
Yep.
Asshole.
And I like that you said you need a palate cleanser for the month. Honestly, I think it was a big jump for me because even when I started watching it, I'm like, wow, it's like I just got done with like rape and demon fucking, and I just like jump into a straight like cherry blossom lying girl, you know, like
I got scared once I got home because so I re-listened to the last episode and you can hear like me getting excited that you and Lloyd had picked your lie in April. But then, like, I got home and started watching Your Lie in April, and I was like, oh, fuck, like, I don't know how they're gonna watch this, like, oh, no, like, I'm not sure that, like, anyone's actually gonna be watching it this week, but I'm really glad, like, you watched it and gave it, like, the healthy chance I feel it deserves.
Yeah.
Because it's really good. It's the only anime we've talked about on this podcast about middle schoolers. It's the only musical based anime we've discussed. It's super slice of lifey, which we've discussed when me and you talked about, fuck, I can't even remember that director's name, but when we were watching Garden of Words and Your Name and stuff like that. So I know that you, Aldo, know where I'm coming from when you know what I like when I'm looking for slice of life, anime, right? Like,
yeah.
I
Like, I understand why you like it.
yeah.
It's a good piece of, you know, of everything, animation.
But you're right. This is like the biggest 180 from Berserk. Like, this is so like PG, like after school television, middle school romance. This is.
Yeah, and I like that it had a little bit of tragedy, you know?
A lot of tragedy. There's a lot of tragedy.
Well,
I don't.
But, I mean, okay. We'll get into it. But yes, Your Lie in April. You said 2015? 2015, A1. So, yeah, I mean, the more we look at A1, I mean, they have some sleepers in there, you know?
Bro, A1 Pictures, the more I think about it, might be, well, maybe it's different over there. Maybe like in Japan or something, they would be like, they would hear us having this conversation and be like, what are you talking about? Like, we know A1 Pictures is dope.
Good.
Yeah, we know they're good. But us barely looking at studios, like, what American studios, what Japanese studios do we know that are big in America? It's like Toei Animation because of like Dragon Ball and One Piece.
Gilby.
Yeah, it's Studio Madhouse because of like Trigun and like stuff like that. But no one knows A1 Pictures. People know Kyoto Animation a little bit. But you never hear A1 Pictures talked about that much.
Yeah. And, yeah, so let's fucking roll it in. We start off with...
Paint me a big picture. What's Your Lie in April about?
All right, so big picture, I would say a very lucky person who came across a great friend, you know, or found a great friend in this girl. And he was very fortunate in the fact of the impact she had on him.
Right. Okay. I'm glad you. Let's start it there. So here's what I took from this is probably my third watch through of Your Lie in April, and I'm talking a lot about like because Japanese writing has a lot of that juvenile like Disney-esque like teaching you a lesson kind of writing. You get what I'm saying? Like if.
I'm picking up what you're putting down. Yes.
Yeah, if Samurai Champloo is about the friends we made along the way and not the journey we met there, Your Lie in April is about, like, stress your talents to make an impact on somebody's life. You get what I'm saying? Like, your lasting impact in life will be the mark you left on other people.
Correct.
So don't waste your talents, don't waste your interests, because even if no one listens to this podcast that me and you are producing, right? And Lloyd, if no one listens to this, at least if one person is like, you know what? I remember in 2020, these three fucking nerds were just spitballing about some bullshit Japanese cartoons. And like, I know how hard they worked and I know how they were trying to produce a new project and you learn something and internalize something from that. That's what Your Lie in April is about.
Yeah, absolutely. And although very tragic story, like you were saying, I kind of saw like the good of it. Like, yeah, it is saddening, but at the same time, it didn't get me sad because of the that what bloom from our main character, which is Koze.
I'm glad you took that away from it, because like every time I watch this, I break the fuck down.
Yeah.
Like, even this past week, like trying to get through just like the first 5 episodes, just remembering like how sad it made me feel. Like it hurt. It just hurt my little itty bitty soul, and just wanted to break my heart into a million pieces without even getting to the real tragedy. I was just like, I don't know.
Yeah. And, so our main character, Koze, very, very, you know, like chinned down kind of kid, you know, like just fucking stressed over him playing piano.
Yeah, he's a little music nerd. He's a little prodigy. He had all of our characters are in 9th grade right now. In 7th grade, and before that, he had a lot of really good like performances, and he was a part of like piano competitions, and his mom is a piano instructor. And so like within their community, this little classically trained instrument community of children, he was well known. Like they knew him to be like the best fucking piano player in the district.
Yeah, like this fool was just, and even gets called, I mean, and this will work itself more like later on in the story, but very robotic kind of prodigy.
Yeah.
Like a step-by-step player of a song and notes. I mean, if you play instruments, you know what we're talking about, but as far as like just hitting those notes with no feel.
Yeah. He didn't put his own pizzazz on it. He didn't try to put some heart into it, air quotes,
it was
heart.
Copy and paste.
Yeah. He's just like, I'm going to play it perfectly as it's written, which would upset a lot of people, especially as competition, because it's so boring. Like, you're going to win the competition because if
technicalities.
If they're judging you on how well you can perform this piece as written, and you just play it as written, then you're going to win every time.
Yeah. And, so yeah, he's a prodigy. I believe we start meeting him in the schoolroom, in the piano room in his school.
Yeah, there's like a music room in the school.
But he is playing, right? He is practicing.
I think he was just listening to music.
He was just listening to music because he's not playing at all right now.
Right. He had like a part-time job or something where he was writing the musical scores to like popular songs. And so he's just with his headphones on, listening to music and writing out musical scores. That's
right. And then, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Oh, so, we start meeting the crew, because, at some point Koze gets hit in the fucking head with a baseball, and we meet my favorite character of the whole anime.
Tsubaki's your favorite?
Well, Tsubaki, yeah.
I like Tsubaki.
Great personality. Yeah, like.
Oh, okay. I've never heard that before. That's dope. Okay, so like, Kosei has 2 best friends, Tsubaki
and Watari.
Tsubaki plays softball. Watari is the star soccer player for the school.
Captain.
He's the captain of the soccer team. Really good player. He's like the fuckboy of the school.
Yeah.
He's since he's such a good soccer player, he's got like all these girls on his line. He's hitting everybody up, and he's just a fuckboy. Like,
yeah, and I don't remember exactly how the conversation went about to meeting our second lead will be what's her name?
Kaori. So Tsubaki was trying to hook Kaori up with Watari because she thought he was cute. So Tsubaki also invites Kosei to have like a double date sort of with all 4 of them. So Kosei shows up early, and there's a park there with some children, and he hears music playing over, I don't even know what this instrument is. It's like a piano that you're blowing into.
Think about it almost like an accordion, but you have to blow into it. Pretty much.
It's like a harmonica accordion.
We should have looked this up.
We should look this up. But so she's playing. He hears the music. He recognizes the said music, and he's just it's one of those like Disney style love at first sight kind of things.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Glimmery.
Yeah, all this like sunlight's behind her.
But he's just playing with kids, just playing the fucking. He sees her music.
It's like when you see Snow White playing with like forest animals or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, right away, he's just enamored with her. And then, that vision is automatically just shattered because she's here for Watari, so she's hitting up Watari, and she knows Kosei knows that his best friend is a fuckboy, so that like turns him off a little too. He's just like, like Watari gets all the girls, and he's not even gonna like appreciate like what he already thinks he sees in her. And
yeah, so like I said, like Kosei, like I said, chin down, you know, like eyes to the ground kind of kid. Like, you know, there's some sort of like mellow in him.
There's some tragedy there. Like, he's in his head a lot. He's looking down the ground. He's not looking up. He's not looking straight ahead. And that's a metaphor stressed by Kari several times throughout this. Like, that he's...
Hey, you look taller today. Or something like that. Because
Yeah. He's not looking ahead. He's not... Or at least at this sense, he's he's trying to stay in place. He's not moving forward.
Yeah, exactly. And we find out that he hasn't played piano in 2 years because of a meltdown he had when he was younger. And this meltdown was caused by his mom.
Right. So...
She was giving him the Jackson 5 special.
Yeah, I hate that you fucking use that. But it's like it
happens.
It reminded me of 2 weeks ago when we watched Erased, because that also had themes of like this little kid like showing up to school with big bruises and he was getting beaten.
Yeah, but she was just getting beaten for the fuck of it.
Yeah,
when this point he was actually just getting pushed to do something, which it doesn't.
That's not better.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't justify it. But I mean, at least he wasn't getting beat just for the hell of it.
Right. So Kosei's mom, who's sick and was a professional piano player, is working him like, and he's like a kid, like he's a little kid who just wants to fuck around, play with dirt, jump in rivers, and just fuck around with Tsubaki. And just act like a little 7-year-old dumbass, right? But his mom's just beating the shit out of him, making sure that he's practicing the piano every fucking second. And
she kind of forces the technique, the perfect technicality to him. Like she wants him to know the song how it is.
Right. This is stressed later on, but it's not like a spoiler or anything, so I'll talk about it now. She wanted to stress the fundamentals of piano playing because she's sick. Like, she knew she wasn't gonna be here long. She didn't have a lot of time to give to build upon that more. So she felt that he needed a very solid foundation.
And she was in a rush.
Yeah, she was in a rush to make him like a very solid piano player very early on because she knew that she was going to be leaving early.
So we find out that after this breakdown, like, she just beats he beats him with a cane, afterwards. And he's like, you know what? It's like no mas. Like, I'm done. It's like, I was trying to do this to make you feel happy. It's like, and I'm not happy and shit like that. And it gets very crazy.
Sad.
It gets very sad. And I'm a little upset of how the sadness flowchart goes in this anime.
What do you mean?
I'll let you know. Yeah, so we find out that he has now, I don't know, self-diagnosed himself with like being tone deaf.
Yeah.
You know?
So his last competition before this 2-year break was also like the day after his mom died. And the competition before that, at the music hall, his mom, who's in a wheelchair, beat the shit out of him with a cane in front of everybody, like in public, because he threw some pizzazz on the piece when he played it. Like, he didn't play the piece as written, he threw some heart into it, and she beat the living shit out of him in front of everybody. And he threw the music on the ground, and he was like, fuck you, fuck this, like, I don't need this, I don't need the piano, I don't need you, you're a dumbass bitch, I'm done with you. And then we know she died shortly after that, which is a hell of a way to
finishing up, yeah.
Of
closing with your mom, yeah.
Yeah, like closing a relationship with your mother. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like, and
we're talking about like crack in the head, bleeding, like beat down publicly. Like, it's not just like, you know, like...
She didn't slap him. Like,
no.
She took a wooden cane and made him bleed over the head in a public space.
Yeah.
Like, that's abuse. Like, no matter what culture you're a part of. Like, that's not some, like, stop fucking making noise out in public and asking for bullshit and some that slap you on the hand. That's like... some real abuse.
Yep. And so we start finding out that
Hold on, we're still on the Kaori introduction.
Yeah, that's why.
So episode 1, we find out she's a really badass violin player. Mm-hmm. So this double date that Tsubaki has invited everybody on to be a part of is basically just to watch Kaori perform the violin. Mm-hmm. So Mr. Watari's like falling asleep during the piano competition. It's really boring. You know, nobody fucking likes classical music. Like, what the fuck? So... But by the time Kaori goes on, she just rips it. Like she's playing super fast. She's switching tempos up. She's throwing like her own notes and her own flair on it to the point that the judges like absolutely hate it. Mm-hmm. They cannot stand it because they know like
this is no longer that musical piece, you know, whatever, something like that.
Yeah. Like, stop trying to make it your own. This isn't Chopin or something. Mm-hmm. This isn't what Chopin wrote. Mm-hmm. And, but she does that on purpose, right? Mm-hmm. Like, she doesn't want to play really boring pieces because she's obviously talented. Like, one of the judges in the beginning who's never named, which is, I think is super weird because he's in every competition. Mm-hmm. Right away, he's like, why isn't she famous? Like, this girl should be in Europe. Like, she's so talented. This is so good. And then he starts to catch on, like, oh, like, she's not following the music at all. And, but the end of this episode, she moves on to the next stage of competition because she wins a audience, like, participation award. Like, she was the audience's favorite. Yeah. Performance, so she moves on to the next part of the competition.
Mm-hmm. And we see these this violin competition is working with a pianist accompanist.
Well, this past one did too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So I don't fucking play the violin. I don't know, but my sense from watching Your Lie in April is that like all of these violin performances are having a pianist. Accompanist.
Yeah.
So she asked Mr. Kosei to be her accompanist.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't do it. It's funny because it's not like Kosei was being tricked into maybe using his full potential. It was just like her. It's like, come on, dude. It's like play. It's like, we know you're good. Like, why don't you play? It's like, everybody knows you're good. It's like, oh, it's because I can't fucking do it because I can't fucking hear the tones. He gets so stressed. He gets anxious. He's tapping the piano like he hasn't even fucking played forever.
Well,
you know?
Well, build on that. So what it was, he has some kind of weird condition now, almost like a form of PTSD from playing the piano, associated with the pain he felt from losing his mother and the abuse.
Yeah.
And the abuse he like received from her. That like he can't hear his own piano playing anymore. He can literally be tapping the keys on piano
because he's such a prodigy that he knows them by memory. Like
he knows every note. He knows how to play everything. Like but when he starts playing himself, he can't hear his own playing, so he can't. There's no feedback there. So
and I think it's very beautifully represented like in the anime, because in the anime the first time I believe he's playing, we see like the entire room being filled with water. Yeah, and like he just feels like he's drowning, and like as you're seeing this, you're seeing him hit the notes, and they sound like they're underwater. You know, it's just
it's muffled. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. And that's exactly what like stage anxiety is too. It feels like you're drowning. Like so he's developed this psychosis about playing piano, and that's why he quit.
And so Kaori asked him to be his accompanist, and he just didn't get it. It's like, why? It's like, I'm not going to play good. It's like,
I'm going to fuck you up. Like,
yeah, I'm going to fuck you up. It's like, why would you want that? It's like, no, you're not. You're going to do great. Blah, blah, blah. You're going to do great. And he somehow, I'm sorry if I'm skipping too much, but let me know if I'm skipping too much. Somehow she records him and he hears himself play, and he's like, oh my fucking God, is that me? And it just sounds so clunky and like, you know?
So in the music room at school, she was like, okay, just do a run through of the piece. Like, just, you know, like, you're
like very subtle.
I'm not saying you're going to be my accompanist, but let's just see if you can run through the piece. So, like, you're right. So, like, on her phone, she just records him and then plays it back for him. And it's, like, all off tempo. It's too loud. It's abrasive. Like, because he can't hear himself play, so he can't adjust his play style for it. And him being the perfectionist and the really good pianist he's like, this is embarrassing. Like
I need to get my shit together kind of thing.
Yeah, like, this is bad. Like, he's all of a sudden, like, anxious and choked up about it all over again.
And so after getting berated or pressure to play, like we have like this very touchy. I hadn't seen this anime before. I knew what it was. It was on my watch list or something, but I never got to it. She has a very emotional moment where she's like why? Like, she's like, why are you like not using your full potential? And she gets so emotional. And then this is where I kind of got the gist of where this whole thing was going. I'm like, oh, she doesn't care about the competition. Yeah. She doesn't care about the competition. She's actually doing this for him now.
Right.
Like, strictly for him. Which is really nice. It's really nice.
And you don't realize this till later. Well, honestly, you don't realize it until like maybe the OVA, which I know you didn't watch because it's not all that important. But it's basically just, as a child, she saw him play his first performance. And she knew right off of that very first public performance that he was like, that this was like a once in a generation kind of talent. So she is like visibly upset that he is letting that go to waste. Yeah,
and she gets very very emotional, and the reason, I mean, we'll get to it later in the story, but we know the reason she gets super emotional, you know, about seeing this kid that likes playing, but he just lost the love of playing the piano because of the abuse, because of, you know,
it's also because when he was playing as a kid, he was working to impress his mother. So now he's got like this specter. Oh my God, they keep quoting the Phantom of the Opera in this a lot, and it's just like, I'm the Phantom in the opera. I'm the ghost that no one sees. I'm just the looming specter. Because when Kosei performs, he sees like his mom's ghost, like just judging and berating him, and just nothing's gonna be good enough, and he just freaks the fuck out about it.
And then where do we go from there? He gets pressure into fucking he gets pressure into actually now being her accompanist.
Right. Well, he never fully agrees. So what ends up happening is the weeks before the competition, every day at lunch over the PA system, somehow she's hacking it and playing the piece. And then all over like his locker and the music room and his like house and his bedroom and everything, she's like glued the sheet music everywhere.
That's right.
So he sees the music everywhere he's going, even though like
his locker and everywhere.
It's under his desk, and then actively himself in his head, he's like, I'm not gonna perform this fucking piece. So then the day of the competition is there. He's on the roof feeling bad for himself, like, oh, I hope her competition went well, whatever. And then she's there, and he's freaking out, and he's like, you have to be at the competition hall, like, now. And she's like, well, I'm not leaving without you. And he's like, but I don't know the piece. And she's like, that is bullshit, because you have been listening to it all week, and I know you've read all the sheet music that I've been leaving everywhere.
And he's even miming the key plays like on his own, you know? Like, so he knows it for sure. And then we get to the performance, and people call it like the robot and the free spirit, or at some point,
right? Because whenever we see Mr. Kosei talk about Kaori, like, he's always describing her as tempestuous and the free spirit. And there's I don't even know if you would call it a metaphor, but it's like a comparison. There's a black cat that's all over the opening songs and the opening sequence, but this black cat shows up in a lot of just the non-musical walking around town episodes, because this black cat is a free spirit, and although it is bad luck for a black cat to cross your path, like, you know, they're cute, they're cuddly, they need attention, they need affection, their emotions are all over the place, and that's the animal representation of Kaori. Like, she's a tempestuous cat, almost. And so when they jump on the performance stage together, like, Kosei's scared. Like, he is, like...
sweating.
He is sweating. He can't see. He can't hear. And...
on a tux.
In a tux.
Yeah.
and then Kaori's, like, she's so good at the violin that right away when the song starts, she just takes off.
Oh, and it's great. And, like, the accompanist, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know how much, a lot about how how a piano accompanies a violin, but it is obviously a very good. It sounds very good to the ear, for me at least, the piano and the violin together. And we know that the accompanist is there to keep a tempo behind her to make the sound of the music a little bit more flowy, like a little bit more fluent. Like, he has to keep up with her.
Right. So I found a playlist on Apple Music that's just Your Lion April music. So it's got a lot of Chopin and, like, Beethoven and stuff like that. So the song they're trying to play is Sonata for Violin and Piano number 9 in A major opus 47 by Ludwig van Beethoven. And so if anybody's ever been in an elevator, you know how fucking boring Beethoven is. Right? So, no, was that too far? Okay, I'm sorry. So,
I like Ludwig.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay, so I've never actively listened to classical music, right?
I actively listen to classical music.
Okay, so for me, the non-active listener, I understand it to be as boring.
I just don't know nothing about it.
But when you hear Kaori play, like, she throws, it almost sounds like jazz. Like, it sounds like some, like, 1920s, like, big upbeat bop, like, violin playing, right? And this is supposed to be Beethoven. And so, Kosei's trying to keep up, but, like, he can't even hear his own notes.
This is where we see the water scene, that everything's, like, fucking flooding.
So he starts drowning her performance because, like, the sound of the piano is so garbage that even the audience is like, holy fuck, dude, just stop playing. Like, you are fucking her up.
Like, they're even asking themselves, like, why are they keep going? Like, why are they still playing? You know? Like, it's crazy. And before we keep going, I did get thrown off by his tone deaf kind of thing, and I thought I was gonna go into some Ludwig kind of thing, you know, like some I'm deaf, but guess what? I'm gonna still, like, punk your asses out,
right?
You know, so very, very misleading, and that goes again to my end comments about this podcast. But yeah, we keep going. They finished the competition. They obviously lost, but they still placed.
Hold on. So, like, so he just stops playing at a certain point. And then she stops playing because, like you already talked about, she's only doing this for his benefit. So at a certain point, he feels so guilty that he just starts playing again. And that's when it turns into, like, they call it a backyard street brawl. Like, it's just, she's trying to play all fast and quickly and super technical. And then he can't hear his own playing still, but he tries playing to mimic her play style.
So he focuses on her.
Yeah, he hears her, so he's able to sort of play just based off what she's doing, like a conversation almost. You know what I mean? Like, if I was deaf and I can't hear you, but I can understand your response, I would know how to respond to that same thing.
Correct. It's like language. Like, for example, like bartending. Like, if you're working with somebody and you have, like, very little space, like, if you already work with them, like movements are so easy because you're already used to it. Like, you get across from each other. And
if you ever work, like, serving or bartending, and you've ever been in a closed space with your coworkers, you know how they function. You know, like, which way they're going to turn. Like,
exactly.
Without even speaking, you can, like, work around each other. And so they turn in a bomb-ass performance by the end of that.
But just like a part performance kind of thing. A good piece, at least.
From stopping initially, they're automatically disqualified.
Yeah.
So but they did get an audience reaction. So we, as the anime viewing audience, know by the performance audience's reaction that this was a good piece. Because, like they're just beating the shit out of each other, but neither person gives up. It's like a really good boxing match. You get what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So then...
Like, they sucked, but it was a good fight.
Yeah. So then the performance ends. Kaori's drained. She's standing on stage. And then she collapses. Mm-hmm. She passes out. And this is our first sense that there's something wrong with her. Mm-hmm. Like, something, like, mortally wrong with her. Mm-hmm. And... No, go for it.
No, go. No.
So then the very next episode is them visiting her in the hospital. Kosei doesn't even want to look at her. He doesn't want to talk to her.
It's still chin down guy.
Chin down kind of guy, even though he just like gained some energy and some self-confidence after that performance. Mm-hmm. But he hates hospitals. He hates visiting people in hospitals because of his mom. It reminds, like, everything about like that situation just reminds him of his mother. And, like, it's clear that even though she was abusive, he did love the shit out of him. Mm-hmm. He loved the shit out of her. And one of my issues I've had through every watch through of Your Lie in April is regarding the portrayal of the mother. Mm-hmm. Because even at this point, we're talking like episode 5, basically. And it starts off, you're supposed to think of her as a villain because, you know, child abuse like that's really kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? But...
It works.
All of a sudden, like, the mother's supposed to be a sympathetic figure. Mm-hmm. And that kind of upsets me in the writing because I don't want to feel sympathetic towards a child abuser like that.
Yes, I get your frustration, but then again, for me, it's such a human reaction.
No, I get that.
You get me? It's such a human error, you know, like, yeah, you did love your child, you did abuse him, but in her point of view, you know, it's such a commonly made mistake by humans.
She wanted to do it for his benefit.
And then somewhere along the line, like, it got cloudy.
Yep. And episode 5, Cloudy Skies.
Yeah, you know?
And so they visit her in the hospital. This is... I would argue that this is the lie. If the name of the show is Your Lie in April, I would argue that episode 5 is the lie of the season. Even though by the time we get to episode 22, they tell us what the real lie is, but it's kind of a cop out.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it wasn't that. It was this.
Yeah. Just like,
shut up.
Shut the fuck up.
Like, let me be right.
Yeah. Because so what I would say the lie in April is they visit her in the hospital. Mm-hmm. The only thing Kosei says is like, "Are you going to be okay? Are you going to come back to school?" And she's like, "Yes, I'm in fine.
Top health or
some
shit like that."
I'm in top health.
They're just running some tests, blah blah, which is bullshit. Because if you faint, like, you sure, like this,
Nope.
like this is what I was thinking, like leukemia, anemia, like something with the blood, something with the brain, something, because you don't faint. You just don't faint.
Nope.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So
it's some kind of nervous condition. Like, it's
so I knew that it's bad. You know, like as a viewer, like I know this is bad. I know she's just lying.
They never explain it either. They never complete. Like me and you before we started recording this episode, I was trying to Google what the disease is, but it's just a bunch of nerds on like random forums trying to argue.
Well, actually,
yeah, it's just a bunch of nerds trying to argue with random medical facts they found on the internet on what this disease actually is.
Yeah, Dr. Oz says that.
Yeah. So we know that she has weird muscle atrophy. She passes out. Like you were saying, I would have thought it leukemia at first too, because it almost seems like a blood work condition because it has to do with her brain and blood oxygen levels maybe. Mm-hmm. But then there's a lot of sense that it's like a neurological condition because she starts losing sense in limbs.
And then I also thought it was like blood kind of related because she is the most pale looking character. Like in the anime, you know?
She's the most Caucasian American looking one.
From the Icelandic region, you know? But like, so that's what I thought it was like, oh man, like even her lips look a little bit like discolored and stuff like that. So that's where I thought it was. So yeah. So we can argue that was a lie.
No. Yeah.
You know?
I would argue that is the main lie that he is trying to cope with the entire time. Because I think, so there's 22 episodes. even at episode 5, he knows that's bullshit. Right away, he's like, no, shut the fuck up. Like, that's not fucking right. Like, stop trying to make me feel better. And stop trying to, like, lie to us. Because there's just no way. Like, it's not even possible.
And, I mean, before we actually find out, I mean, it's in the back of his head all the time.
All the time. All the time. It's super sad. So then that's like the first time she passes out, but then they're gonna do like another competition together or something like that.
Before we jump into that,
I
would like to point out this episode, and I like it because A1's got the cutest fucking animations of kids. So we see episode 6 is about a little flashback with Tsubaki, Watari, and Kosei just being a kid going through abuse, you know, and I was thinking about a friend of mine that I had like back in the day, like back when I was in Juarez in school, and it sucks because
he was being abused.
That could have I never knew. You know?
Yeah.
So
it's about Tsubaki trying to pull him out of his bubble.
Yeah. It's about Tsubaki trying to, hey, let's have fun. Let's jump in the fucking river.
Yeah,
like
let's go be fucking kids. Like,
and the mom is like, no fucking fun until you finish your piano.
Yeah, he's got to be like, he keeps turning down her invitations to go like hang out because he's like, oh well, my mom said I have to go home for a piano lesson.
And like back to the one friend that I had back in the day, like he used to live like around my neighborhood. So like the kids I used to hang out with, we would see if we could come out and play, but he would never go. Like the only place we would hang out would be like at school.
Right.
And he was kind of quiet, but like he liked his Goku stamps and all that shit. But you know, like now that you put it, that I'm old enough to put it together, it's like he might have just been going through something like that, but I never knew.
Oh, that's fucked up, bro. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, but
so you're right. I'm sorry. I tried skipping past this episode. This is episode 6, On the Way Home, and that's what it's about. It's just Tsubaki just being
a sweetheart.
Yeah, just being. Maybe you're arguing the best character in this. Like she just even they're seen to be like 5-7 years old at this point. Like she just feels for the dude. Like she is already enamored, like obsessed, like just so concerned for this guy's well-being.
I like when they both get hurt, but she's carrying Kosei home.
Yes. Good. She twists her ankle. That thing is swollen and purple and like all that. But he scraped his little knee. And
God forbid hitting her in his hands, because they will both get the fucking Jackson 5 special.
Yeah, then they're both getting the whip. So like Kosei, his knee's scraped. So then Tsubaki puts him on her back and walks them all the way home because they're neighbors with her broken ankle. And that's like the cutest, most heartfelt fucking scene in like the first half of these episodes, because that is
like the child innocence, the child.
That is like the most selfless act. Like, because even she is concerned that like, oh fuck, his mom is gonna beat the shit out of him if I don't get him home right fucking now.
And yeah, but very like awesome episode. I think that was my favorite episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I hadn't even considered it. I almost skipped through it.
Like I said, I think Tsubaki is my favorite character. Not only because she also did pretty much the same work that Kaori's doing. And I mean, she has seniority for like 4 years, and then this blonde girl just shows up and does it like in 2 days. I understand the frustrations, you know.
That piece of shit piano nerd, like just he saw blonde hair once and just gave up on Tsubaki. I hate him.
So yeah, very good episode. But yes, we go back to episode 7, and we start seeing like a little kind of crumble around these main pillars, which is our crew. We see that the Tsubaki has a bad game, and Watari loses the last game, or his season ended because he lost.
Right. It was like,
but it wasn't even a bad game. It was just that
it was almost like a playoff qualifying round almost. Like he was working his ass off. They only needed like one score to win or something like that. It was probably like a scoreless soccer game, which happens all the time in soccer. And he's what do they call the forward in soccer? He's the
forwards.
The
Yeah,
forward,
I believe
right?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like the forward.
Striker,
he's
forward, whatever.
He's the person...
That does the goals.
Yeah, that's supposed to make the goals. He's fucking messy. So he goes up, he tries to make the play, and at the last second, he misses.
Yeah, and then we also see that Tsubaki has a game, but this is because Jelly Beans hit hard on this episode, because she's playing. Mm-hmm. Obviously, the friends are there to support, but he sees now that Kaori and Kosei have a little better relationship, and she just fucking fumes with Jelly Beans.
Right. So they're supposed to be they're going to be performing another duet together, and they're practicing. They're in the music room all the time together. But to be the supportive friends that they are, they're like, "Hey, let's go see Tsubaki play." Duh! Like you're going to go see your best friend go play her fucking game, right?
Correct.
So then they go outside. And you're exactly right. Like, Tsubaki sees Kaori with Kosei, and right away she's just like, "Fuck that bitch," and like she fucks up the play.
I've been working on this.
She fucks up the whole team's play.
Yeah, because she actually made a mistake. She made the mistake. She made the losing mistake because she was supposed to stop at third but she went for home run. You know what I'm saying?
She just tried to round the bases for like no fucking reason.
Just she was just so angry and
just being angry and just trying to run off her frustration. Tries to round all the bases and she gets tagged out. And that loses then the whole fucking game.
And then like, and what I mean that about these like kind of crumbling in the pillars is that even Watari says is like, now it's up to you, man, like to make it big in this fucking competition, you know, because they had to go out their season, and now it's a little more of a what do you call it? Motivation for Kosei.
Well, it's because they're third years in middle school too. So for me and you, well, when I was in middle school,
it's so crazy to put it together. I know where you're going. You're trying to put together like the school system kind of thing.
Yeah, we're just a year off is what I'm trying to say. So high school is grades 12 through 10, high school wise. Middle school would be grades 9 through 7.
Dude, but isn't it so crazy that you can't put it as like apples to oranges? Because like Japanese, obviously, a way better infrastructure and educational system. You have 8th graders dedicated to clubs that they have made, they have joined on their own, and you have little 8th graders, 7th graders like dedicated to their school club of their choice.
They're trying to make a career out of something they passively joined in middle school. Like, that is fucking wild. What fucking American is like, yeah, in 8th grade, I'm going to be, my profession's going to be pianist. Like, that's it. That's it. I'm done. So my point is, it's their last year of middle school. So before they all go to high school and try to join prestigious systems, which is another point, I'm glad that you were talking about the school systems, they have to apply to high school.
Oh, yeah.
They have to, which I almost wish Americans did that, because that would make us try so much harder a lot earlier. Because, like, middle school, it's like, why even try? Like, I'm going to high school no matter what. Like, these kids, it's like, no, I'm busting my ass in this soccer game so that I can get into the big soccer program school. Like, if you were in El Paso, it's just like, well, every El Paso high school sucks at football, but imagine if there was like the prestige El Paso like football school that you were like, I'm gonna bust my fucking ass, be the best like player out here, so that they can recognize me and
apply.
They need scholarships to these schools. They talk about scholarships in this anime. Like, imagine needing a scholarship to go to high school.
And not just on this anime. We see it. We've seen this through a lot of animes, like Suzumiya clubs.
Yeah.
What's the other one? I think it was Domestic Girlfriend. He was in a club as well, or something that.
I'm glad you brought up Suzumiya, because in the Disappearance of Suzumiya movie, like, that's what was implied, is that the level of high schools, because in the Disappearance of Suzumiya goes to her original predestined like premier high school, so she never meets what's his face from Suzumiya. Correct. Because the logic in the Disappearance of Suzumiya was that him going into the past influenced her to going into the same high school she knew he was going to be in, so that she could meet him again. But anyway, besides the point. So everyone's trying really hard at the end of the school year so that they can bust their ass and get into the school they want. And that includes Kosei at a certain point. Because by the end of the anime, when he starts... So Kari's plan starts panning out. He starts getting more comfortable playing again. And at a certain point, he's like, you know what? I am going to go to a good music high school. Like, I'm going to apply. I'm going to move out of town. I'm going to try to get that scholarship. Like, I have a competition background. Like, these people know me, so I can maintain their social status in the music world if they allow me to play for them.
Yep. And I think at this point we start seeing like those like when Kaori is pointing out that he's looking ahead now. He's not slouching. He's not looking down anymore. And yeah, you can see this. He has a little pep on his step, kinda.
Yeah. And
it's still being fucked up by like the memories of his mom.
But I think us as an audience, we're supposed to understand that it's because of Kaori. You know what I mean? Like, he looks forward to seeing her.
Yeah.
Like, he has motivation to try at piano to make her happy. Because he doesn't want to let her down.
So they enter another competition, right?
Yep.
They enter another competition, and his number is 265, which is the page. Is the page of a Mozart piece, which is Twinkle Twinkle.
Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah. I don't remember, but I think you're right because like I think they said Mozart's 265th piece was Twinkle Twinkle Little Star or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, and she gets very excited because apparently this is a good omen in the music industry.
Well, there's like every other episode with Kaori in it has some kind of narration about stars. Because when she talks about stars, she talks about like the feeling of stars, almost like an omen, is like they're happy to see us. They are shining on us. Like with episodes with a clear sky present, she is saying that like the stars are happy that we are thriving. Like something good's about to happen because like it's almost like the universe is shining on you. You get what I mean? Like it's all these different
like you're in the spotlight.
Yeah, exactly. So that's, to your point, what she's talking about, that like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, like you're about to tear this shit up, like
because you're gonna shine like a star. And yeah, so we start taking a look at the old competition. Little kids that they were trampled by the robot that Kosei was. And now they're grown up and they're like, whoa, he's back?
Right.
I hear he can't play no more. I hear he went deaf, blah, blah, blah.
Right. So the big three in this district, as far as piano players, like among children, would have been Kosei, a girl named Emmy, and a, Mr. Aiza.
Mr. Aiza? Takashi Aiza?
Yeah. Takashi Aiza. And, Takashi and Emmy fucking hate Kosei because he was so good and won every competition. They were always switching between second and third. So it just like upset them that every time he was there, and then he just disappeared for 2 years. Kosei was their main motivation to try harder at piano, and then he just gave it up. He didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, and you see, I mean, as the viewer, as you've seen all this going, I mean, their frustrations are understandable. I mean, you have this little fucking kid, just beating you every time when you're practicing. The thing is that these people were doing this out of their own motivations and not being, abused by their parents or anything like that. They were just practicing how someone would practice, but no, that every time they're getting beaten by this kid. And like, it's so, I think it's good to point out that, you have this kid, you feel a certain way about a kid that you don't know what he's going through at home and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And yeah, it gets very like their frustrations, I guess, with the girl. It was that he played everything so robotic, I think.
Yeah. It just like we already discussed, because it was so robotic, like it was so like by the set piece, like technically he would win every competition, but like aesthetically, like that's so boring. Like no one wants to hear the set piece as written. And
then Kashi, he was, Takashi, yeah, right? He was more of infatuated with him. He was more of a fan of him.
Well,
and he wanted to be better than him, right?
They both were.
Yeah.
So Mr. Kosei's first competition, he's a little kid. He knocks over a bar stool or the piano stool, and he's really distraught. But he plays so well that Emmy when she hears the end of his performance, she just starts crying. Like, she just starts bawling her eyes out because she's just like a little kid overcome with emotion, like experiencing something that new and that good. Like, she didn't know how to react to it. So she just starts crying. And Takashi, like, his reaction is the exact opposite. It's almost like, how do I overcome that? Like, his first thought is like, how do I beat that situation, as opposed to like...
There you go. Yeah, you put it a little better in words. Yeah. That's exactly what I was trying to explain. Like, their frustrations are different, but they matter in a way, like, later on in the story.
Yeah.
And, what else we get? We get some flashbacks to the mom. You know, she didn't initially want him to be a piano, right? It was the aunt?
It's not really an aunt. It was like his mom's best friend, Miss Hiroko. Miss Seto. She's also a piano player. They were best friends from like college. It almost seemed like, because the mom also went to like secondary school for piano. And you hear the mom at a certain point telling Miss Seto, like, I don't want him to be a pianist. Like, I don't wish that upon anybody. Like, that lifestyle is like so demanding. Like, I can't let my child be a part of that, because it'd be so mean, like, as a parent, for me to like force them into that.
Yeah.
But then Miss Seto realizes that, like, because Kosei, just from hearing a song and hearing how it's played and having like a rough idea how to read music, he could almost already perfectly play a song.
Yeah, and we find out that, like, as a baby, he used to nap under the piano when the mom was playing.
So, like, he's a real music prodigy. You know what I mean? Like, he's the real fucking deal.
Like, it's in there. It's in him.
Yeah. Like, you can't escape that. So that's when Misato tells the mom, like, yo, like, he has to learn piano. Like, I'll teach him piano if you let me. Like...
And we see that not all of the training was abusive. We know that the mom got sick later on.
Yep.
And that's when the abusive stuff started happening.
Right.
And where do we go from here, Drew?
So we
get to the competition where Kyle doesn't show up?
Yeah, he gets to the competition, so he's supposed to be performing the duet. Miss Kaori does not show up. And, you know, Kosei, he's built up the courage, he's built up the energy, he's prepared for this song, as opposed to the last performance where he, like, passively learned it. This time he was, like, actively training and actively listening to his own recordings, even though he still can't hear his own playing, to have a better understanding of what parts he needs to work on. So he jumps on stage by himself during a violin duet competition, and he's just like, fuck it. I prepared. My shit's ready. Like, if she's not here, she's not here. Because, again, he thought she bailed because of, like, she's tempestuous. She's a teenage girl. You know what I mean? Like, she bailed to bail. So he just jumps on there, and same thing happens. He's drowning. He sees the vision of his mom. He's fucking up. But at a certain point, he just gives in.
I'm sorry. We almost see him play this piece, like, in 3 parts.
Yeah.
A very agitated first part where he's just fucking...
Because he's mad he can't hear himself. He's mad that Kaori's not here. He's mad he can't hear himself.
And then, like, the second part is more of him, like, almost concentrating and getting those keys right, where it sounds too robotic. And then the third part, we see that he's just fucking, like, he's thinking about Kaori, and I'm just gonna play this for her.
Right.
I'm gonna forget about my mom's ghost in the stands.
Hold on, I'm gonna fucking cry. Hold on, I'm already gonna cry. So, back to, like, my original theme on, like, the lesson that Your Lie in April is trying to teach you, is that, like, how is this going to have people remember me? How is this going to give something to somebody else's life? And that's when he starts thinking of Kaori, and he's just like, what would she want to hear? Like, what would add to her life right now from my playing? And he just plays his little fucking deaf-eared eye out. Like, he tears it up. You know what I mean? Like, even the audience at a certain point, from us as the anime viewing audience's perspective, they tell us what you're describing the audience is hearing in the 3 sections, right? Like, yo, the first part was fucked up, and then the second part was too perfect, and then the third part, you hear the audience just describing, like, yeah, like, mind blown, kind of like the audience wants you to cry with them. The audience is like, this is too emotionally much.
And to the point that you were saying, like, actually, a little back thought. This reminds me of Megumi in Food Wars, because she can make something for your soul.
Oh, you're right.
And it was kind of served like that. It was served in the same way. And back to the anime, Your Lie in April. We see these back characters. The kid that was gonna play last, he didn't want to trade him his spot because he wanted to be the last middle schooler, or like the last elementary kid to play.
Because it's still like a middle school competition. So Mr. Kosei asks like the guy that won the last violin competition, like, yo, my partner's still not here, can we take your spot until she gets here? And he denies him that opportunity. He's like, no, go fuck yourself. If she doesn't want to be here, that's on him.
And then we have Takashi and Omi.
Yeah, they're in the background.
Omi, they're in the background, and they get so gaslit by his performance. You know what I'm saying? So this is where I meet you with impacting people. Like, oh shit! It's like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, even the little kid was like, fuck, I should have traded him spots with him, because that's gonna be fucking hard to top. Now,
he screwed himself over. By being like selfish. He was like, oh fuck, I really have to like outperform that like solo, because Kosei just like destroyed a duet violin and piano piece by himself on piano, which like in itself is a huge feat, because he's missing half the sounds coming out of that stage, and he was able to get like that same reaction out of the audience.
And fucking an awesome episode. Like I said, is animated amazing. Like,
oh, it's so good.
Like I've had this conversation with V before. Shout out to you, babe. And that I wish we had more of that stuff here in El Paso. More theater performance. More.
I'd be down.
Like orchestra, some music.
I think it's part of the culture too. Me and Karen had a funny conversation the other day, because I forget what she was talking about. She was talking about like how she hates people that act all extra and annoying and loud, like people that you knew in high school that were in theater that would like act out like everyday actions. And then I had to remind her, I was like, Karen, do you know who you're dating? Because like, I've always gotten people mad at me, like friends and people in my life mad because I'm so fucking loud and annoying. And I did some theater in high school, and like, it's a lot of like the same things. You know what I mean?
I mean, you have to have the personality for it. I mean, if you don't, then, I mean, it's like engineers in a space station. Like, you know how eccentric like the vibe should feel up there with just a bunch of engineers, just like.
I honestly, last night I just finished writing like a 6-page paper from. Apparently, DARPA has a podcast, like the Defense Agency for fucking Research and Production Agency. Is that what the fuck's DARPA?
I think so.
Whatever. DARPA has a podcast.
Yeah.
So for my community development, like graduate level. Political development class, he had us listen to a podcast episode and write a 6-page paper about said episode. I picked an episode about a synthetic biologist, and it's just like you're right. Like the level of just like nerditry that is happening at this level of industry just blows your mind. You were like, I don't even, what were we trying to relate this to?
You were saying that you and Karen were having a conversation about the fans living, or the annoying people in theater, and we were talking about having more theater in El Paso.
Yeah, it's just, I don't think people understand that level of art and industry. I don't know. I don't remember what my original point was.
Sad to say, but we have good people in El Paso. We got
guys. Great people in El Paso. We have that theater.
We have the nicest people.
Yeah, everyone's got COVID, so whatever.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Kosei, back to the Your Lie in April narrative. Mr. Kosei does great.
Oh, and in the background, we find out that Kaori's fucked up.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So they find out that Kaori didn't show up because she got hospitalized. She passed out the day of the competition and like cut her head open and got admitted to that hospital while Kosei was performing. So back to what the lie was in April, he again asked her like, hey, are you okay? Are you all right? And she says she's fine and that she's going to get out soon.
Yeah.
It's just a cut, even though, like, she says her fucking head was gashed open.
Mm-hmm. And we see this scene where she can't fucking feel her legs. Like, she's at the hospital and she's, like, crawling to her room. Because, again, like, we don't know what this disease is, but, like, you know, like fainting, muscle spasms like that, or muscle, like, numbness like that.
It's like a neurological disorder. It's so, like, helpless, like, how they show her feeling. Because she's so talented as a violin player, but then she has nervous tissue damage. She can't hold her own violin. She can't play. She's still obsessed with music and how it makes her feel, but she can't perform.
It also brings me back to Madoka Magica of the wish of that kid.
Oh, I like that one.
Oh,
okay,
you like that
and
one?
then go on.
But yeah, it reminds me of something like that. Like, man, it's like she needs a magical girl to give her a wish so she can get better.
If this was Madoka Magica, she would have turned into a witch at that instant.
Probably. But yeah, so Kosei gets back to the hospital. Again, it's like she's gonna be alright, whatever. I like to point out that he brings her favorite snack, her favorite dessert, which are canellas. These are really good. They're like, do you like flan?
Honestly, I've never had flan.
You never had flan?
I've never had flan.
Well, think about flan, but it's like a little bit burnt on the outside, so there's like a little like.
Oh, that sounds cool.
They're pretty good. And, but yeah. Anyways, we, at this point, like, Kaori just stays in the hospital.
Yeah. The rest of the season, she's in the hospital.
And we're barely on, like...
I've got some notes from episode 10. One of them's a quote from her. And she's basically saying that facing adversity is how you find out you're the real deal. Which is talking about his piano performance and the adversity he's experiencing. Because, like, and I always heard this from, like, football players and stuff like that. Or, like, if you watch the most recent Michael Jordan documentary, you always hear him talking about how, like, him overcoming, like, an injury or like some weird adversity is what made him good. Because when you see like interviews of Jordan, he would make up like situations with people, and that was his reason for beating you. You know what I mean? He would make up like, oh, Aldo called me fucking ugly and bad at basketball today. Fuck it, I'm gonna fuck him up on the next basketball game. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm gonna build on that. Yeah, I mean, dude, I think it was the 92. I think it was the 92 finals. He beat it with a flu.
Yeah.
Aspa didn't even wear a mask or anything, just giving everybody the flu.
Oh, that's so great.
He had a stomach flu. My bad.
Me and Karen were talking about this the other day because I've been so stressed and studying so hard and off so much caffeine and just stuff to help me study all night that like I'm really prone right now to probably get sick because I'm not taking care of myself right.
You know, you're sleeping.
And this used to happen to me all the time when I was in undergrad. Every finals week, I got sick because like I would not take care of my. One time, I had full blown strep. Like you could see the pustules. Like the strep test came out positive. Like I was on medication. I showed up to a lecture hall to take my final with active strep. Without a mask or anything.
1992 Michael Jordan.
But like without a mask or anything is my point. Like think about how gross that is now. Like I hope the mask thing persists because like...
Oh, and it will. I
hope so.
Because I think by now, a lot of people that actively use their mask, they've noticed that they have been sick less.
Yeah.
Because that alone is just like, oh, dude, like somebody's sick around you that you don't know, somebody at the bank, somebody.
That's fucking gross, bro. That's so gross. Like you hear like sneeze in public now, and you're like,
holy
like you're
shit,
so fucking gross. Like, but like imagine how gross it was for me to expose myself to everybody else in that, like in that final, like when I had strep, like I'm just all breathing the same air as everybody, and like, oh, that's so gross. That's so gross.
How dare you breathe on me?
Oh, but anyways, 2020 exposes everything wrong with our society. Anyways, so there's another Kari quote in episode 10 that says, "The stars are always out, but they shine the brightest at night." Which again relates to the adversity that we're talking about, because we know that like, that's basic like astrology, right? Like the stars are always there, but we only see them at night because we only see that brightness or that inspiration like when we're at our darkest point, like when we need it most.
Yeah, it's like the only way to go, like when you hit bottom, is like the only way to go is up. You know what I'm saying?
And last thing about episode 10, I just found it important. This is like this is one of the only episodes I even have notes on. This is episode 10 is the only episode with an after credit scene. Which after he turns in his solar performance.
Oh yeah.
So after the credits, there's a scene that describes the audience talking about like the puppet just cut his strings because the mother he was her puppet. You know, that's why he was playing it so perfectly. But by the end of that third act, like you were describing when he was playing the song, he gave it his own emotion. He gave it his own flair. And that was the puppet cutting his own strings.
Was that in that song or was that in Love and Sorrow?
I wrote it for episode 10.
For episode 10? Okay.
And
okay.
I think that's...
that should be correct then.
That is Chopin's Wrong Note Etude.
Okay.
So, there's really good stuff coming out of that episode.
Yeah, and then now that Kaori isn't like in the hospital throughout the entire season, we start seeing Koze, really...
He's spiraling a little bit.
Really, spiraling, but also working towards like that initial jump that he got to pursue a pianist career.
Even though she's in the hospital, she's still like pushing him. She's like,
I love those scenes where he's like, "What are you doing, you stupid idiots? Like, why aren't you over there?" Blah blah blah, and to make it so comically relieved to this like fucked up story. Because I think if I was in the hospital like that, I would be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
just because of like the fear in the back of my head.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah.
So fuck.
It's such a vulnerable situation for her, and I think she already knew because it's implied that she already knew that she had been dealing with this neurological condition for a while. So her priority at this point isn't even her own health. It is continuing like the long-lasting impact she's had on Kose's life. Mm-hmm. So exactly what you're talking about. Like she'll call him just to talk about bullshit and be like, "Why haven't you visited me in the hospital?" Whatever. And then he'll visit her in the hospital and she'll be like, "What the fuck? Why aren't you practicing? What the hell's going on? Do you know how limited your time is right now? Like the performance is like 2 weeks away. What the fuck is going on?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so crazy. And I think we even forgot about the reaction of when he meets her parents.
Oh, yeah.
The parents were like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And they were so friendly and so upbeat. And when they walked away, they're just like, So that's Koze. It's like, they feel sad because their daughter has obviously been talking about Koze, but they obviously knowing, Kaori's
condition.
Fate. Yeah.
Oh my God. So, I got a couple more quotes for you. Miss Kaori relates fireflies to like a heartbeat because you know what I mean, like especially at night during a spring or early summer night, it's just it's the relation to how like life makes you feel. You know what I mean? It's a heartbeat, like it's glowing and pulsating at you, just being like, "Hey, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm willing, I'm still like participating in this fucked up thing we call life," right? Which, especially from Kaori's angle, like she's dying, you know what I mean? Like, so her relating like real world settings to her quality of life like hurts my soul. And
it's crazy because in all these animes, we always see young kids with this like super aged wisdom fucking heads on them. Yeah. And it's something like you would wish it was like that.
Bro, I would. But
you would. Obviously it can't be. You know what I'm saying? Because you're a kid. You don't know. You're fucking. When I was a kid, I thought everybody spoke Spanish.
But at the same time, I feel like what I like about Your Lie in April is that it's capturing like that 13, 14-year-old like mentality, not hope, but like
will to live.
Your brain is still immature. Your brain is not fully developed, right? So it almost feels like when people say super corny things that it does have this level of significance. You know what I mean? This anime, the writing is so good to the point that it puts you in that mindset that it's dumbing down your emotional maturity to the point that like you feel for this more. You know what I mean? Like some dying girl talking about heartbeats of fireflies, you feel that more in this setting. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's it's lessons someone would hope to learn as quickly as anime characters do.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think that's so good. One more thing about Kari. She's always quoting Charlie Brown.
Oh, yeah.
She quotes Snoopy a lot. She quotes the mean girl from Charlie Brown. She quotes Charlie Brown himself all the time. And there's one section where... what's her name? Lucy from Charlie Brown, the really mean girl?
Yeah.
So there's a section where she's quoting Lucy, and she tells Kosei, I'm not always going to be there to help you. And then she says that with a straight face, and then like half a beat later, she switches up like, oh, that's just a Charlie Brown quote. Ha 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 ha.
Big
That is foreshadowing, like nobody's fucking business. That is so fucking mean of her to say that. Like, holy fuck. Like, that.
Yeah, dude, it's intense. It gets pretty crazy. Where do we go? We go to, he is now practicing for a competition.
Right.
And he chooses his mom's most played song.
That is Chopin's Love Sorrow.
Yes. A two-parter, which is one is
Love's Joy.
Love's Joy and Love's Sorrow. Correct.
And there's even a scene where he asks her, like, hey, Mom, why don't you ever play the first part? Why do you always just play Love, Sorrow? And she's just like, because this is the only part that speaks to me. And I'm like, oh my God.
She says, because she says, why do you always play just Love, Sorrow and not Love, Joy? It's like, because I like that Joy is next.
Oh.
You know?
Yeah.
So she would continuously play Sorrow because in the back of her mind, she knows that she has to play Joy next.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy, dude. It just gets...
It's because she knows she's on her deathbed. Like, she knows she's dying.
She's on the way out, yeah.
And, like, she only plays Love, Sorrow to her son. And that, like, is her Love, Sorrow, is, like, her giving her, like, the love of her life, her child, to the world. Like, oh, that's so fucked up. I'm fucked up.
Anyways, we see him practice this song.
He practiced this song for like 5 episodes. Like the next like episodes 12 through like 17 are him practicing Love, Sorrow.
And now we see a little bit more involvement with Sato.
Yeah. Miss Sato, we briefly talked about her. That was his mom's best friend. She also has a daughter, Miss Kaharu, who she's always bringing around her. And she is his original music teacher besides his mom. Like, she was the one that would teach him his pieces for competition. And after his mom died and he fucked up the song, she was the one pushing his mom around in the wheelchair. And then after his mom beat him and he hid in a closet, she was the one that grabbed him and like put him back on his feet. So this is his second mother, basically. This is, and as far as the narrative of the anime is concerned, this is the closest thing to a mother we've seen. You get what I'm saying? Like, in this modern day and time, this is mother as far as we're concerned. This is the woman with his best interest in mind. Like, she wakes his ass up, she cleans his piano, she kicks him out of bed and makes sure like he's just not being a sad little piece of shit all day.
And then we get a big responsibility that Kosei took on. He decided to teach this little girl.
Yep. You know? Miss Nagi,
little brat.
But, like, so they show her as being a little kid, but she's only 2 years younger than him?
Yeah.
Because if he's a 9th grader in middle school, she's a 7th grader.
Yeah.
So that only makes her 2 years younger.
Yeah, but they also portrayed him that little when he was playing the piano 2 years ago.
No. Yeah, you're right. But, automatically when this character is introduced, we know she has some kind of ulterior motive because she already knows who Kosei is, and she's a better piano player than she's letting on, but she gets frustrated easily because she has some kind of bigger goal. It turns out that she's Miss Takashi's brother, Takashi Aiza and Miss Nagi Aiza. Sister, excuse me. So, and Takashi is one of the other main competitions for Kosei when he was younger. He was like the blonde guy that felt like he was a super badass piano prodigy when Kosei would just show him up every week.
And yeah, we see. By the way, very cool character, Misato. I know I have family members like that, you know, especially like with my mom's condition and stuff like that. And so, really cool.
She was a cool bitch because she's the realest. She's the realest person we can relate to as adults. Mm-hmm. It was almost as like the writer of the manga threw in like a real world like adult character just to let the adults know like, hey, like this isn't just for kids. Like here's somebody relatable. Like she drinks. She has
fucks around.
Around. She's got an off and on relationship with her husband. Her main concern in life is her daughter. Mm. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like typical adult shit. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, she's trying to help kids learn how to play piano well, but she's got her own
thing on.
Yeah, she's got her own like fucked up qualities to her.
Yeah, and then What else can we say? We had
Well, okay, so when I was talking about quoting Phantom of the Opera in this anime, a lot of those are coming from Nagi. Like Nagi, like at least like 7, 8 different instances quotes Phantom of the Opera.
Okay, because good thing you caught on that. I didn't catch on that. I've seen Phantom of the Opera. I did not catch that at all.
Well, she's talking about it when talking about her brother mostly because her brother is so like driven and like he's like the best piano player in Japan now that Kosei's no longer playing, and she's always just like, I'm the ghost in the opera. Like, I'm the background noise. I'm the phantom, like, in the piano. Mm-hmm. And so, by the end of, like, episode 17 or so, we see Kosei trying to debate whether or not he's going to go to the hospital to see Kaori, and he hears the song Dead Princess by Ravel playing out of an apartment building, and he freaks the fuck out. He leaves. And I feel like that's like even more foreshadowing. Like Dead Princess by Ravel. Like what the fuck would that be about?
Yeah.
Like,
cause I might as well put some spider lilies in the fucking episode.
Yeah. Oh my god. Because like, as far as, like, the narrative of the anime is concerned, what the fuck else could Dead Princess by Ravel mean? So, he performs his song. He performs it. He has a lot of problems. It's not as technical as he would have liked. But it's good. You know what I mean? Like, it's fucking bomb. And this is his first solo outing outside of Kaori, because like the first 2 instances were him like trying to prepare duets to perform with her, but now he's finally performing like a song by himself.
Okay.
And he's performing the song. He's performing his mom's song, the one you just said, the Love Sorrow. And this is his goodbye to his mother, finally. You get what I'm saying? Like, he can finally hear his own notes playing. He no longer has his phantom of his mother in the room with him. And, honestly, I said this was by himself. This isn't even right. This is with the little girl.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah. This is with the little girl. This is with Miss Nagi. So, they're playing the piano together. So, he's really good. And at a certain point, he gets out of his little slump of getting lost in his own notes and not performing as well as he should. So he starts speeding up, you know what I mean? Like,
and the little girl's just like, whoa!
Yeah. So Miss Nagi's like, holy fuck, like he really is good at playing piano. But then she starts like in the middle of the competition, like starts competing with him. Like she starts like performing as well as he does. Like almost when Kaori like was pushing Kosei to like perform a little better and to like step up his game to like be on her level.
The impact it's having on her.
Yeah. Same thing we've been talking about. So this is Kosei leaving his mark on Nagi and being like, you know what? If you want to learn how to be good at piano, you need to be equally as good as me at piano. So
and then the thing at that point, he wasn't even thinking about Nagi because he was just so fucking fed up and, like you said before, to have a better closure with his mom.
He was just lost in the sauce. He was just in his head. And he's just like, I'm just performing the piece. Like, I'm just fucking flex. Like, I don't give a fuck. And then, but Nagi shows up. Like, she starts performing as well. And this is a middle school competition that they're participating in. And she shows up her whole school. Her brother's in the crowd, who is Kosei's main, like, rival. And he's equally as impressed. And everyone's, like, dumbfounded on how this could go so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, yeah, dude, great episodes. I like it. I'm telling you right now, I have more fun talking about it than watching it.
Really?
But yeah. No, I don't know. I had I guess because I watched it too spaced out, I guess. So I watched, chunks from like 1 to 6, and then like maybe 2 days later, middle section, and then maybe like another 2 days later, like the other part.
Yeah.
So I kind of I kind of didn't hold on to like the feels of like.
I get what you mean.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I get exactly what you mean, because like.
But talking about it, it's absolutely like you can have a conversation about it.
If this week is my third time watching it, the first and the second times I watched it, like I just breezed through it. You know what I mean? Like in one sitting, like maybe 2 sittings, just like
yeah.
And that was when like it emotionally like grips you, and you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
So
where we're going with this?
We're around episode 20 or so, but
yeah.
So after said competition, where Kosei's feeling real good about himself, he goes to he's gonna go visit Kaori in the hospital, and he's going with Mr. Watari. And as they're walking into the hospital, they see Kaori start coding. Like, all the nurses start running into the room.
Fuck out of here.
Yeah, like all the machines are going off. Like, she's seizing. They say the word seizing. And they're looking for doctors, so they know she's fucked up. And this
Code
is
Blue.
Yeah, Code Blue. This is where the metaphor with the cat comes full circle, because he leaves said hospital, and that same black cat that's been following him around town that he believes to be a representation of Kaori gets hit by a car, and he rushes that cat to a veterinary emergency room, and the cat dies.
Yeah.
So right away he knows that like bad shit's about to happen to Kaori. Like he's already fucking worried. And around the same time is when Miss Tsubaki is having the same emotional, not the same emotional turmoil, but she's distraught because her best friend Nao, who's another softball player with her, is frustrated that she won't confess her love to Kosei.
Yes. And dude, like, and behind these 10 episodes that we breezed through, again, my favorite character, Tsubaki, it's going through flashbacks of her of her wanting to bring out Kosei out to play, so many times where she made those sand spheres.
She's making mud balls just to give to him.
And every day is like, hey dude, come out and play. And like, she's just so frustrated that Kosei is not having fun. Mm-hmm. And I think at some point we also see that when he chooses the song Love and Sorrow, mm-hmm. because she lived next to his building, she hears the music and she recognizes the music, and
she knows that that's his mom's song.
Yeah.
Like, automatically when she hears Love Sorrow being played out of Kosei's house, she's like, oh fuck, like Kosei is playing Love Sorrow? Oh fucking no.
She has all the receipts. She has, like, she knows Kosei.
And she's deathly in love with him. Like,
she also gets a boyfriend. We didn't even mention the guy.
We didn't mention it. She gets
and she's always talking about Kosei.
Yeah, he's older. He's already in high school, and he's a baseball player, so they have a butt ton in common. But every time they hang out, all she's talking about is Kosei. Like, Kosei stubbed his toe today. Kosei is such a fucking idiot. Like, mm-hmm. And then, but he ends up having to break up with her because he finds a girl that actually likes him for him. Uh-huh. And then she's like, and he tells her, like, you love Kosei. Like, why am I even a part of this right now?
And then if we even bring it a little bit more back, when she loses the game, she gets hurt, and then Kosei kicks her. Like, she just, like, taps her in the chin. Uh-huh. And, like, she's like, because she got hurt. And then he carries her home just like she did when she was a little kid.
Right. So, like, again, she is deathly in love with this man, and this is another one of those like super loving, caring moments for her.
Like as unnoticed as she thinks she is, like there goes Kosei again, being like, "Hey, dude, like I know you're hurt. It's like I saw you."
Because everyone else in this anime knows that she's in love with him. They absolutely know. And like by the end of these, by like episode 20 or so, she confesses her love for him. Like it's a rainy day, which I think is in direct like relation to how Kaori talks about the sky. Because I don't think it's coincidence that when Tsubaki confesses her love for him,
she wasn't on the spotlight of the stars.
She wasn't under the spotlight of the stars. It was raining. It was downpouring. You know what I mean? It was a cold but comfortable situation for her with Kosei. And that's when, like, they're just spitballing like always. Like, they're just talking shit to each other, just saying bullshit. And she's just like, you know what? Like, I'm fucking in love with you. Stop acting like I'm fucking not. She kicks the fuck out of him and just runs the way the fuck to school and doesn't even talk to him.
Yeah.
And I think that episode's hilarious from his standpoint, too, because he's not entirely sure what even happened. So when he's at school practicing his piano piece, he's just like, why are all girls so fucking weird? Like,
yeah,
that's so fucking weird of all girls to act so weird and emotional like that.
Yeah, it's great. Like I said, again, favorite character. But we go back, seizing up. She's coding.
Yeah, Kaori's coding.
She dies. The cat dies, so we know that she died.
She didn't die yet.
Oh, no, she didn't die yet. That's right.
She didn't die yet. She recovers. There is one more...
That's right.
There's one more instant of Kosei going to the hospital to see her. She has been participating in, like, in rehabilitation therapy to get back, like, sensation in her legs and learn how to walk and stuff like that. But... and she's doing that because she knows that Kosei's working so hard to achieve a certain goal, so she's trying to do the same. So, at a certain point, he's going to see her every day during her therapy. But then one day she's like, you know what? Take me to the roof. Like, let's go, like, talk, let's chat, like, let's talk about music. And it's the middle of like January or February at this point. And this is another one of those like instances where the anime is like pressing that this is about like springtime awakening and the livelihood that comes about in spring. The snow falling at this time is seen to be as like flower petals at the same time in spring, 6 months before. You get what I'm saying? Like her spirit and like she's gonna start airing like violin playing at this time, but like her being alive is a representation of like newfound life that's found every spring. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, yeah, I did jump the gun on that one. We see the cat, so as a viewer, like a first-time viewer, you're like, oh, shit, you know, like, she fucking died.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we get through the next couple of episodes, and we realize that Mr. Kosei is getting fully prepared for his last competition. Because not only... He decides that he's going to go out of town to join a really prestigious music school. And to do so, he needs to do well in this, like, district-wide, like, piano competition. Because he's been out of the music competition scene for a while. He needs to perform well to show the admissions office, like, why they should let him be a part of that school. And at the same time, you're talking about Tsubaki being the best character. She is totally upset that he is trying to leave her, and she feels like she is being abandoned because when they were 5-year-old children...
They lived next to each other.
They lived next to each other, and he said he would never leave her, and now that he's trying to leave for school, she's like, what the fuck? Like, you said you'd always be next to me, and you'd always be by my side. But, it's all leading up to this end, piano recital, and it's excellent. It's so good. Like, episode 22, like, especially the first half is, like, the best animated thing, like, we've watched in a while, because the ending sequence is him playing another Chopin song, another really sad, like, his instructor, Miss Seto, describes it as Chopin's like saddest, most isolated song. And you hear that in the first part of the section because it's just the piano just feeling sorry for itself almost. But then at a certain point in the music, he starts imagining Kaori because he knows that she's having her surgery to fix whatever her condition is at the same time. And the anime directing starts switching back and forth between his piano recital and her surgery. And you see her being brave and like going under the gas. And you see him overcoming his anxiety and his grief from his mother, from all that bad shit that happened to him related to the piano, to the abuse, to all of it. And he's just playing because he wants to be heard, because he wants his music to influence Kaori's life, and he wants her to hear it from blocks away. He wants her to hear and experience like what he is giving to the situation. So then the scene that they start animating is Kosei on a shallow river lake, like it's all reflective on a piano.
Fucking cool.
Gorgeous, it looks like. And then it's like a pale blue sky, and then Kaori appears and she's playing her violin and she's having a duet with him, and that's what he's imagining. So he's playing back and forth, but it's not a competition anymore. It's more playful, like he's playing for her to compliment her. Her playing isn't real, and the playing he's hearing is complementing what he's performing in front of this actual audience. Mm-hmm. And so it's the metaphor by the end of it is that he's imagining like her spirit, or like in like Christian terms, like her angel or something like that, because by the end of the performance, like her image floats away. Like it's like her spirit like disappearing because she's dying. She died during the surgery in the middle of his performance. He gave the performance of his life, which was directly influenced by this girl that he recently met within the past like 7-8 months or so, completely turning his life upside down. And the second half of the last episode, episode 22, is him attending her funeral. Her parents give him a letter that was written immediately after his last visit with her, and she describes what the lie in April was, because the pretense we had for their meeting was that Miss Kaori had a crush on Mr. Watari, so that's why Tsubaki was introducing them to each other. But in all actuality, when Kosei first started performing at like 7-8 years old or something like that, Kaori was at his first performance, and she saw him play, and she was so moved by his performance that she ran home to her family's bakery and told her parents, like, I need to pick up violin. Like, I'm done with piano. I need to pick up violin immediately because the violin can do duets with the piano. Like, my only goal in life from here on out is to perform a duet with Kosei. And it's just, it hurts. It so hurts. She gave her whole, like, the second half of her life, like her short life was given to bring what she saw out of Kosei. Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm fucked up too, bro.
My fucking heart hurts. Like,
and fucking, like, she just wanted to return the favor for what he did to her before.
He gave her all that inspiration. He gave her her reason for living and her reason for pursuing this dream in life. And she just gave it back to him. He lost all of it from the death of his mother, and this crazy spirited, like, beautiful woman just came into his life, flipped it upside down, and put him back on the right track. And I don't know. It
fucks you up.
It fucks you up so hard. And like, it's almost like I didn't even remember the ending. Like, I didn't want to remember the ending, but somewhere like deep inside me, like, I knew how this would end. And that's why, like, that when I was describing how the earlier episodes made me feel, I kept getting choked up because because I really didn't remember how it ended. Because I must have watched it when it originally came out, like 4 or 5 years ago. Because when I was watching it this past week, I was like, I don't even remember why it's so sad. Like, I know she dies, but then
it's not really about it, bro. It's not really about.
It's not about her death.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm glad you finished it, because earlier in the week you were calling it A Walk to Remember. Which I've never seen A Walk to Remember. My understanding, it's like about the death, but this is not about the death. This is about everything but the death here.
Well, not. I'm not saying the Walk to Remember it was just about the death. No, it was about changing a person for the better and stuff like that. It's a definitely better storytelling than A Walk to Remember, but essentially in the same ballpark.
I get what you mean. But it hurts. It's so, and like the ending of the anime is just him. He did get, like, all she wanted was for somebody to hear her, for somebody to internalize her playing and to take with them that influence into the future, which is exactly what he did. Yeah. He took all that with him to what we presume to be a successful music career. Yeah.
And that was fucking your lie in April.
That's your fucking lie in April, bro. And so then the lie is just that she loved him the whole time.
Yeah. So the entire thing about her liking Watari was just,
it was a pretense for her to meet Kosei. Yeah. Because the whole time she loved Kosei. She knew since she was like 7, 8 years old that she loved the shit out of Kosei after hearing him play that first time. So,
and yeah, I'm sorry. But like her initial dream before her knowing that she was going to die, she just wanted to be with him.
Yep.
And then as a viewer, before you know this, you see this girl that is about to die and she knows something about a particular stranger. And you think she's doing this, to someone that she doesn't know. Maybe somebody that she likes, maybe attracted to, but not like that.
Yeah.
Not like, hey, dude, like I saw you play one time and that was it.
Yep.
And it's good. It was, like I said, I didn't watch it continue like in one sitting or maybe half and half, so the feels didn't stay there. So I am having more fun talking about it right now with you.
Isn't it so dope though? It's so good. Like.
But I was just telling this to my girl. Not as sad as Fireflies.
You don't think so?
I think
it's a different kind of sad. This is like a happy sad.
I just think that Your Lie in April is 22 parts. All that is just
shoved into an hour and a half.
Shoved into 1 hour and a half, and that just makes you ugly cry.
It's a different kind of sad, because I feel like from Grave of the Fireflies, it's like a negative sad almost. You know what I mean? Like
this is a positive sad.
Yeah, this is a positive sad. Like, you're so sad for the loss of life. You're so sad for the loss of this future potential of a young person, but it's okay because that same influence doubled the potential of somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just, it's so good. I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could watch it a fourth time because it's just so sad. Like, it just hurts. It's so, I feel like I've been fucked up on Twitter all week just trying to talk about Your Lie in April because it just, my little heart just can't take it.
And so far, I would say that this is a well-finished A1 Productions fucking anime.
Oh, yeah.
So far? I mean, Promised Neverland obviously is just one season. It's not done.
It's not done.
Darling, we know what happened with Darling and the Franks.
Might not have been A1 Productions' fault. We're not entirely sure.
Exactly. So this is a good fucking finisher for A1.
This is probably their poster child. This is probably like if A1 Productions was to like be like, hey, like, why do you deserve like more funding or more?
Check out my Lie in April.
Yeah, just go watch Your Lie in April.
That's
like
a resume.
Yeah, that's your resume. Is Your Lie in April. That's all you got to fucking know about like what we've produced.
I mean, Promised Neverland, it's great. Again, the animations on the kids, very cute. But yeah, that was fucking Your Lie in April. I know you like it. I liked it, but the way that I saw it, like, spread out, there was a lot of misleading things, like, at the beginning, like, with him, like, loss of tone death, so you think that's gonna work itself around that. And then you have, at first I saw it as a bad thing that the sadness shifted through Kosei mom, Tsubaki Kosei, Kaori Kosei, and it just kind of like all entangles. Like,
I almost like it because
I do like it.
And I feel like I realize it more after our discussion, like you're talking about, because we skipped through like 10 episodes. We skipped through like episodes like 12 through 18.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because they all kind of just swim into each other. They feel like the fucking endless summer episodes of Haruhi.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it's so, because it's just more about the emotion of it. It's not even about the context. It's not even about, it's about like how shitty it's going to make you feel. I realized this after watching Your Lie in April this week. I read a lot of John Green books. I own like probably 7 or 8 John Green books. He's the guy that wrote, the book about the kids dying of cancer.
Killing Mockingbird?
No, not Turtles All the Way Down, but, it was a really big movie. The book was blue. Why can't I think of it?
It was a very good movie. The book was blue.
Yeah, John. It is The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, same thing. That's
right. It's The Fault in Our Stars. No. But that's not even the John Green book it reminds me of. So the John Green book it reminds me of is a book that he wrote before The Fault in Our Stars called Looking for Alaska. Looking for Alaska is about a young literature prodigy moving from Florida to a boarding school in southern United States, like South Carolina or something like that.
Yeah.
To a boarding school. And he meets a girl his own age, like 16, 17 years old, who is obsessed with literature, obsessed with poetry, drinks high-class wine, and dies tragically halfway through the book. And her influence from that short amount of exposure to him influenced him to be a successful, like, linguist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is, and Looking for Alaska is also a show on Hulu.
Oh, cool.
So,
why not?
Yeah.
Oh, and so are we getting into the nerd down?
Nerd down.
Nerd down.
Nerd down.
So, fuck, I just forgot what the fuck I was gonna say. Oh, I love when animes get a little bit of the real world, like in this anime, like for example the music. I'm looking forward to share those playlists like in our Twitter. So, you know, like if you guys want to listen to those, I like these little things, like, you know, like, because we can share this playlist and people can enjoy, and people that actually listen to this music or play instruments and stuff like that.
Right.
So like the food too, like Food Wars, like I wanna maybe one day when you come, maybe I'll cook something that appeared on the show and we eat it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you're a good cook anyways. Like, I came over here to record this episode and you had made like better tasting Chico's tacos, which, like, anybody not listening out of El Paso, even though we know the metrics, we know you're probably in El Paso. Anybody in El Paso knows what Chico's tacos is. It's like really shitty, like flautas soaked in tomato sauce.
Tomato sauce with cheddar cheese. All you need.
With shredded cheddar cheese, but that always end up making you sick. I got here. You made better Chico's tacos with like tomato sauce that didn't actually make me feel like shit, which is why I'm able to record this right now.
Yeah, exactly. Because my girlfriend loves Chico's tacos, but I'll be like, I'll go with you, but like, you know, I'll have a soda and some fries or something. But I'm not gonna eat it because I want to have a good day, you know?
Bad.
I don't know how people eat Chico's tacos at the beginning of the day.
I eat it like once a month because I crave it, but like it always makes me feel like shit afterwards. Always. I had it like last week and I literally got nauseous because I had it during lunch. So so the rest of my work day, I felt like shit.
And this is not bad word in Chico's tacos. This is my personal system digesting your food. Like, I know a lot of people love it and it's good. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy it when I eat it, but I just don't enjoy the second. It's like the fucked up feeling does not, like, the the taste does not compensate the bad feeling.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
It almost feels like a drug when I do eat it because it's like
you're doing
I don't want this,
Yeah.
but like my body's telling me I need this, so I'm gonna do it. Like
and but yeah, like I like this animes the pick from like the real world, and we can actually experience or listen to these things. Like I said, I look forward to sharing this playlist with you guys.
yeah, I'll tweet it right now. Honestly, and I'll tweet it right now as soon as we're done recording this episode. But we need to start talking about this next upcoming week because the third place runner-up of the poll from 3 weeks ago already, it was Parasite with a Y. So we are going to be watching Parasite, an anime based on a manga that ran from 1988 to 1995. The manga came out in 2014. I have seen the first 2 episodes. I was not impressed, so I never finished it. But I'm hoping that, based on the level of like correspondence we got regarding Parasite, that maybe I just didn't give it the chance it deserved. It's interesting. I'm glad we're watching it during the month of October because it is really like horror show kind of things. Yeah, it's not scary, but it's trying to show you like freaky images and stuff. And but what I thought was interesting is that the producer of the anime is Studio Madhouse, which last week I talked about the production quality of it, like the animation quality, that I didn't think it came up to snuff, which is why I think it's weird that Studio Madhouse, which produced things like Ninja Scroll, Black Lagoon, Death Note, and One Punch Man, season 1 of One Punch Man, which was really fucking good.
Yeah, we don't talk about season 2.
Yeah, we don't talk about season 2. Produced something like this, which my initial feelings about it was that the animation quality wasn't there. But I'm gonna watch it this week.
Have you seen anything else spooky, like any movies and shit like that?
Have I watched anything else spooky? No? I'm going to be honest, and that's because I don't even have time for myself anymore.
Shitty, spooky person.
I'm a shitty, spooky person, and that's basically because for my climate policy and climate change discussion course in public administration, I have a bunch of shit due November 4th. So I haven't had time to like do anything because I've just been doing homework and stuff like that.
Just work.
Yeah,
podcast work.
This is the only thing. This is the only time I get to have beers or drink or like
the only joy in my life.
Basically, like I look forward to Sunday after 4 because that's like the only time I get to enjoy myself during the week. But
we're having the same conversations. The only difference is that we're just fucking putting it on a fucking medium.
Yeah, we would be talking about this on a Friday night at fucked up at 2 a.m. Either way, you know what I mean? Like, that's exactly what this podcast is. I think that's why I like it so much. But what point was I even trying to make? So basically,
spooky. You're a shitty spooky person.
I'm a shitty spooky person. No, I have not watched it, but that is because yesterday at 3 a.m., I turned in the 3rd draft of my graduate portfolio so that by November 16th, I can make a 45-minute presentation off of said portfolio so that a panel of 3 people can decide whether or not I get to graduate. There's a lot of shit going on right now.
Yeah, you got book brains?
Book brains. The only fun I've planned out in life is your Halloween party coming up this Friday. You were explaining to me that we are going to be responsible and that due to recent COVID outbreaks and COVID restrictions, we are going to be limiting the size of it, which I'm glad. Number 1. Number 2, a little disappointed, but that's not your fault. That's just because life is fucking happening.
Yeah, and I mean, we wanted to have a party for Halloween. Me and my girlfriend love Halloween. So, like, that's the month that we started dating. Like, so it's cool, you know? And, we wanted to invite her cousins, so some of her friends and stuff like that. But, you know, like, when you start spreading a lot different circles, that's when it's iffy, you know?
As I already told you, I'm getting absolutely tossed. I don't give a shit who the fuck is here.
Yeah.
I am I'm telling you how busy I am. The only fun I have planned out for the next 3 weeks of my life is this coming Friday night, which is your Halloween party, and I'm getting absolutely obliterated, and I don't give a fuck who is here.
So, I mean, our circle, we're responsible adults. You know, we know that just the usual suspects are not gonna bring fucking COVID with you.
Yeah.
You know, with them. So yeah, we're limited that size, but we're still looking into having some games for everybody, to just have some genuine fun, you know, not some just alcohol filled.
I hope to also have fun.
Yes,
but
yes.
but my main goal, is I am trying to enjoy the shit out of myself because this is all I get.
I watched Beetlejuice this week.
Did you?
Yeah, great movie, man. It's a Tim Burton original, but the lore within Beetlejuice is so crazy. He's an exorcist of the living and the dead, which makes him a tyrant within the spirit world because he's also exorcising spirits.
I don't remember any of that context from Beetlejuice. When was the last time I watched Beetlejuice?
He's like a bounty. He's like a Deadpool bounty fucking mercenary.
Whoa,
spirit guy.
Hold on. Can we talk about... Me and you had a conversation at 3 a.m. this morning. We are recording this on October 25th. At 3 a.m. this morning, we had a conversation about a new Marvel movie that I had not even heard of, and that you had to try to explain to me, and that still doesn't make any sense to me because I could have sworn, just based off the context, that it was going to be so bad that it must have been a Disney Plus, a straight to Disney Plus movie.
Yeah, man. So, fucking whoever's running the shit over there at Marvel and Disney. I mean, obviously
Feige?
Mickey Mouse it's at the throne.
Kevin Feige?
But what DC hasn't gotten the grasp of, or as a fan, when I dissect the formula of movie making from the Marvel universe, they deep pocket into these weird characters. Iron Man wasn't Iron Man before the Iron Man movie, bro. He wasn't a main fucking
What do you mean?
Well, he was a main character, but Spider-Man, that's a main character. Fantastic Four, that's one of the biggest characters.
Captain America.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Iron Man wasn't as big as he was before Marvel Universe.
Exactly. So they have a way of deep diving into these characters, making a badass thing, and then unfolding even more badass characters.
Right.
And then that's when, hopefully fucking DC has, and Warner Brothers have fired the former fucking president of the, or whoever was in charge. That fool he just made all these changes. That's why we didn't get the Snyder cut. You know what I'm saying? And Snyder, dude, HBO just picked them up, and they're spending the money for reshoots for this movie. That movie wasn't even done. There's currently reshoots to finish the Snyder Cut movie of the Justice League. Right. Which the former president, whatever, he completely changed. He brought Jeff Joss into the thing, which was one of the guys that he's currently having some issues with Ray Fisher, which was a Cyborg. Okay. Cause he's a crazy guy, apparently as a director and shit like that. And yeah, dude, so this movie, what is it? Shang-Chi? Shang-Chi? Yes, so badass Bruce Lee based off character.
But blatantly based off Bruce Lee. It's not even
So he's the martial artist.
Right, but it's not even oh, maybe this is based off Bruce Lee. This is very much based off Bruce Lee.
Yeah, if you want to be specific, Enter the Dragon.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, which is a great movie. You told me I haven't watched it. It's a cool movie. I like Bruce Lee movies. I mean, Kung Fu movies are a mess either way, but it's a good movie.
The plot's shit, always.
Yeah.
But, they're good movies. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, but I've never seen Enter the Dragon.
And, but yeah, dude, I'm excited for the next fucking set of movies that we're gonna get. It gives us something more to talk about.
We get 5 fucking movies next year, and then 2020 was so shit we didn't get any Marvel movies, except are we gonna get Black Widow? I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, we're getting Black Widow. That actually got moved up, so I think that's gonna be the first movie, because we're gonna get WandaVision. this December.
But that's a show, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a show, but it's still canon to the continuity of the cinematic universe.
Right.
We have Winter Soldier. I don't think that's as canon, but I think there's a lot of like character new character
development.
Not new character development. Introductions. In those. Loki as well. It's gonna be good. So, not just because they're the shows. I think you should still watch them just to keep track of what the fuck is going on in the movies.
Okay.
And wow, what the fuck else? Oh yeah, I was gonna say like our show right now. I think that the reason we've been sticking with anime so much is because it's like the thing that we can do right now because of the COVID and everything, you know, because COVID shut down a lot of the nerdy movie things, you know?
Yeah.
So I look forward to talk about these fucking movies later on.
I do too, but my main concern, and I've discussed this with you previously, is that when it comes to things like Marvel movies and stuff like that, is that they're so popular. These are literally the most popular movies that come out every year. I'm not sure what we can produce like through our format
that is not being talked about already.
That's not redundant. You know what I mean?
Well, we can all break this down in the nerd down. We can still do something and then just like for the nerd
you're
down,
right.
we break it.
You're completely right.
You know, like something quick, like right now we're discussing.
No, you're right. I'm just...
We don't have to dedicate a whole fucking...
At a certain point, because even when we discuss anime and stuff like that, which are a Japanese medium, we still bring back like Western discussions and stuff like that. Like we just discussed how Your Lie in April reminds you of
A Walk to Remember.
A Walk to Remember, which is fine, which is cool, which I like, but like how consistent can we be with that level of quality with
when everybody's talking about it?
Yeah, with Spider-Man Homecoming, when literally everyone's discussing Spider-Man Homecoming.
Well, then that brings me to a point that you're touching, that we can just watch movies that we like and just fucking discuss those movies that nobody fucking talks about.
No, you're right.
You know,
it's just a matter of on our like active
serve it up and plate it for.
Yeah, it's just we need to actively be watching these in the context of presenting it.
Absolutely.
Like because we can passively watch an anime right now, but because not a whole lot of people, especially in El Paso, we're probably the only El Paso anime discussion podcast
probably
that can discuss it on this level. You know what I mean? But when it comes to fucking Spider-Man or Iron Man, like everybody in the world is discussing these. Like, how do we present something new to that?
Yeah. And like I said, we can just put that like in the nerd down. That's why the nerd down. That's what we built. That's what we made the nerd down.
Yeah, we got the nerd down. We got a new transition song.
We're working on a new transition song.
We got a new transition song. Shout out to Thomas Zapian. Lloyd had some questions regarding the like. Not the quality, but like the
feel.
The feel. You give
vibe.
us the vibe. Like we want something catchier. We want it to feel like an anime outro.
I already have my intro to my life. I just need the outro to my life.
We have a really good anime intro right now.
Dude, shout out Thomas. That's a great fucking
and
intro.
It feels like an anime intro. So that's what me and Thomas were talking about yesterday. Like, so we were discussing audio clips from K-On!, which is an anime about a high school music club creating a band but making really poppy rock Japanese music, which I'm like, this is what we need. Like, you know what we need. I know you've seen K-On! Before, so like this is what I want in a catchy nerd down song. So like maybe by next week. So for now, I'm okay with this song, with this transition piece.
I like it, but I do want something. Like, it makes me feel like I'm in the outro.
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna play as soon as I die, just like, ugh.
I need to feel like Sasuke in the outro of Naruto kind of shit. Like, come on.
What was I gonna say? Damn.
What?
I completely forgot.
Shout out to Nerdy Paws. Shout out to Twitter. Shout out to, we have an October giveaway coming up. I don't know. Do you want to just do housekeeping stuff? Do you want me to just lay it all down?
Well, no. Let's see. We're gonna watch Parasite next week.
We're watching Parasite.
Nerdy Pause. Cool. I was gonna say something else. God damn it, I forgot.
Do you want to pause?
Oh yeah, that's right. Did you check out those prices for the pianos that I sent you for the pianos feature in the anime in Your Light in April?
No, what do you mean?
It was like $200,000 pianos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that people just have in their house.
That's whatever. I don't know. Like that seems like a cool flex. Like if I already had like a really expensive house and I had like a young piano prodigy child, like just be like, you know what? He's playing on a $200,000 piano that was made during Chopin's era. Like,
see, and this is what I mean. What like when animes get things from the real world that we could like dissect them even further and stuff like that. Like the first thing I did was look up like the fucking price of that piano was what Stain something.
I have no idea.
And Son, something like that. Stain and Sons, a piano. And like I was like, dude, what? $175,000 for this shit?
Yeah.
And this is the shit that gets played by like this is the preferred like.
This is a preferred piano. Yeah. This is like the go-to piano for all these different people. But I don't know, like
fucking Rent-A-Center that bitch.
I don't. Is something like that even possible? Like, are you having to like put that on your credit card? Yeah. Are you leasing you would have to. You would have to. You would have to lease like a $200,000 piano for something like that.
Yep. And but yeah, man, fucking let's close it up.
You want to close it up?
That was Between Nerds. That was episode 15.
That was episode 15 of Between Nerds. Thank you to Between Nerd Podcast.
We have a Death Note theme giveaway for this October. So please, again, use the hashtag NerdyPause.
Please use hashtag NerdyPause. That is hashtag NERDYPAWS. And for every hashtag use, we will be giving to the Humane Society of El Paso. And for every hashtag use, we will be entering you into our October giveaway for the Death Note themed giveaway. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email us at betweennerdspodcast@gmail.com. That is BETWENNERDSPODCAAST@gmail.com. Please follow us on Twitter to, if anything, just follow the productivity of the hashtag at Between Nerds. That's BETWEENNERDS. Shout out to Javi at Slime Guts. That is SLIMEGUTZ. That is our graphics designer. Shout out to Thomas Apien.
Shout out to Chico's Tacos for making an appearance on this episode.
Shout out to Chico's Tacos for being our scapegoat for shitty fucking food coming out of El Paso. Shout out to Lloyd Parker Jr. We know you have a fuck ton of shit going on out in Round Rock, Texas with your new job and everything. Like, he'll probably be here next week because we know he's excited about Parasite, and I think he's already actively been researching that. So if anything, thank you to everybody that's actively been listening. I know we have like 10 followers on RSS. We have like 15 followers on Apple Podcasts and whatever on Spotify. So just thank you to everybody
who is listening.
Thank you to everybody that's actively listening every week, because if anything, the statistic that makes us happier is that every week it seems that the total productivity of each unique device listening to the podcast is going up, because we have an upwards of 100% of productivity for each device listening to each podcast, which means that
are we doing something right?
Yeah, that people are re-listening to portions of said podcast every week. So just thank you to all of you. If anything, just send us your names, your ideas, anything. Yeah, we'll give you a shout out every week. We don't give a fuck. Does it sound like we're talking about anything else?
No. And like, as if you feel that people are frowned upon the anime you like, send it to us. Yeah, we'll watch it.
We'll talk shit about anything. You know, it's fine.
I don't care. I don't watch this because I want to. Just playing idea.
We're watching Parasite next week. Thank you, everybody. This has been Between Nerds.